I still remember the way the hangar smelled that night, jet fuel and money all mixed up under those bright white lights. And I remember the laughter, sharp and mean, bouncing off the metal walls like it had a life of its own. I was standing there with my thrift store coat and my grocery bag, just admiring a plane I'd once flown in my dreams, when a man in a tailored suit barked out, "I'll give you the plane if you can fly it." The whole room froze for a second, then everybody cracked up. To them, it was a joke, a bit of entertainment before dinner. To me, it was the moment my past, my pride, and my patience all came together. He was Mason Carter, heir to a construction empire with the kind of swagger you only get when you've never been told no. Around him were other buyers, Rolexes flashing voices low and smug, sipping imported whiskey while they eyed a $25 million jet. They thought I was lost, or maybe looking for a handout. But when you've logged more than 40 years in the sky, when you've seen the inside of cockpits from Miami to Manila, you don't feel lost anywhere, especially not near an airplane. I didn't rise to his bait at first. I just ran my fingers along the fuselage, feeling the cold metal under my skin, remembering the first time I'd ever touched an aircraft like that, as a 19-year-old cadet. 47 years, I murmured without thinking. What's that? Mason leaned closer, smirking. Your age, or the number of times you've been on a Greyhound bus. More laughter. The sales rep shifted uncomfortably. A businessman nearby muttered, "Maybe we should call security." Mason waved him off. No, let's see how far she wants to go with this fantasy. I looked at him, then really looked, and I saw a man so used to holding the upper hand, he couldn't imagine it slipping. You said you'd give me the plane if I could fly it, I said quietly, but clearly. I'm accepting. You could have heard a pin drop. Mason blinked, caught off guard. You're serious. Perfectly, I said. You don't think I can. I know I can. He laughed again, louder this time, like a man trying to drown out his own doubt. Fine, he said, pacing in front of me. But when you fail, and you will, you're going to kneel in front of everyone here and apologize for wasting our time. He thought the threat would scare me off. Instead, it gave me the focus of a landing checklist. Deal, I said. And when I fly it, you sign over the papers right here. His smile twitched. I could feel their eyes on me as I circled the jet. I started calling out items. Control surfaces, free and clear tires in good condition. Air intakes clear, just muscle memory from thousands of pre-flights. A woman named Julia, the sales rep, crept closer. Ma'am, she whispered, this man isn't joking. This is dangerous. I smiled at her. Some battles have to be fought no matter what. In the corner, an older buyer whispered to his wife, something's off. She knows too much. I climbed the ladder, hands steady on the railing. Before I disappeared into the cockpit, I turned to them. How many of you have ever flown a Citation X Silence? How many of you know the difference between a full flap landing and a crosswind landing? More silence. How many of you have saved lives in the air? Mason tried to cut me off, but my voice carried over his. Because I have. For 47 years, I've been proving every day that I belong in the sky. Tonight, I'll prove it to you too. The cockpit smelled like home avionics, leather seats, the faint electric hum of a living machine. My hands moved without hesitation. Fuel pumps, avionics master engine start sequence. Outside, Mason was pacing, talking fast to anyone who'd listen. She can't do this, she's bluffing. But then the radio cracked to life. Citation November 8-4, clearance granted. Welcome back, Captain Davis. You could see the color drain from his face. Julia's hands flew across her tablet, searching my name. Captain Evelyn Davis, she read aloud. First black woman to command transcontinental commercial flights in the U.S., 35,000 hours in the air, chief instructor until last year. A murmur rippled through the hangar. Phones came up, but now they weren't sneering. They were recording history. Engines roared to life, a clean, even sound that only comes from a pilot who knows every dial by heart. Mason grabbed a handheld mic. Stop this now. This was a misunderstanding. My voice came back calm and steady. You made a bet. I'm flying. The jet rolled forward, nose pointed at the runway. Julia showed Mason the screen filled with photos of me over decades, uniform crisp medals pinned, shaking hands with presidents, saving passengers from a storm. "She's flown more than anyone in this city combined," she whispered. I pushed the throttles. The aircraft surged, weightless, alive. The hangar fell away. Miami lights blurred beneath me. I banked right, then left a graceful arc, the way a musician moves a bow across strings. Down below, I imagined Mason on his knees, his perfect shoes sinking into the tarmac, finally tasting the kind of humility you can't buy. 15 minutes later, I brought the jet back, soft as a feather landing in fresh snow. Engines spooled down. The silence in the hangar was thick as a church. I climbed down, boots steady on the ladder. Mason was indeed on his knees, hands shaking. I held out the keys. "You can keep your plane," I said softly. "I never wanted it. I just wanted you to understand the price of judging someone by their appearance." Julia's eyes were wet. "Captain Davis, I don't even know what to say." "Then don't," I said. "Just remember." Mason looked up, face blotchy, and whispered, "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" I shrugged. "Because if I had, you would have changed your behavior, and then you'd never have learned the lesson." I walked out into the night air feeling lighter than I had in years. The roar of the jet was still in my ears, but it was the quiet of the crowd that stayed with me, the sound of prejudices collapsing. 6 months later, that video had 15 million views. Mason lost 3 big contracts and most of his credibility. Julia got promoted to regional manager and started speaking at diversity conferences about what she saw that night. One of Mason's planes ended up donated to a foundation I started to train underprivileged kids who dream about flying. Life has a sense of symmetry. You can't plan. Sometimes it just writes itself. People ask me what the most satisfying moment was. It wasn't the takeoff. It wasn't the landing. It was seeing that crowd shift from mockery to awe. It was knowing that every smirk and every insult had built to a single instant where the truth stood taller than any hangar wall. I didn't need revenge. I just needed them to see me as I really am, and maybe see themselves a little clearer too. And you know what? Even now, some nights I think about Mason Carter and all the people in that hangar. I wonder how many of them went home and told their kids what they'd witnessed. I hope they tell it honestly, because that's the only way anything ever changes, one story at a time, one eye-opening night at a time. So now it's your turn. If you were standing in that hangar, would you have laughed with Mason, or would you have stepped in? Have you ever underestimated somebody and lived to regret it, or been underestimated and proved everyone wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share this with someone who needs a reminder, and hit subscribe for more true stories where dignity outflies prejudice every single time.